Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 6:30 on Saturday the 19th of June. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and it's raining. Good news for the outdoor plants and the raised beds. I've got a little pheasant there, look, bobbing across the field. Can you see that there? A bit far away to get a decent picture of it. I've got a load of stuff in the boot of the car that needs bringing down, so I'll get myself down. Look at the size of this grass. It wants cutting. Ah dear. But it's not going to get done today, not in this weather, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, I'll get myself down to the cabin, get opened up and see what we can get done today. I suspect it's going to be all indoors, but I don't know, you never know, it might stop raining and brighten up later. You just can't tell nowadays with this weather. It just does what it wants and ignores the forecast. That pheasant's hanging out by the bees, look. It's hiding under that hedgerow. Come down and join my chickens, Mr. Pheasant. That would be nice, breeding some pheasants. Anyway, let me get opened up, and whatever it is I do get up to, I'll keep you posted as we go through the day. I just literally walked down to the cabin, and as I came by, I glanced at this first raised bed, and there were two baby rabbits inside under that netting. And as you can see, they've completely demolished all those seedlings. How have they got in there? I mean, the net fence I can gather because it needed staking down at the bottom, and you'll remember I've run out of stakes. So I didn't think it was rabbit proof. I'm guessing they've come in at this top end here, because that's where they went out. But how have they got inside here? I just don't get that at all. I can't see any holes in the mesh, but they've completely demolished those plants. I'm trying hard not to swear now. Ah dear. Anyway, whatever, it is what it is. Let me get in the cabin and I'll catch up with you shortly. Little buggers. Just waiting for the kettle to boil, so I'm going to move this across to the cabin. I got 4 bags, 80 kilos of layers pellets for the chickens. I'm just trying to build up a bit of a stock just in case we get any shortages. It's quite funny, and normally the first thing I do is sort out the chickens, and this morning I didn't. I went up to get the chicken feed out of the car to bring it down to the cabin and they were kicking off. They could see me moving around outside but not coming to them, and there was a right load of squawking going on. They're content enough now, pecking around at the corn. Let's take a little look, see what we've got inside the coop. I'm fairly sure we'll need to do a bit of cleaning out today. Yeah. They keep taking the top off this feeder. I don't know how they managed to do that, because the handle comes through the middle. But anyway, there's no shortage of food and water. Yeah, big mess. So what have we got? Oh, we've got one egg in there. Let's get the little box out. I'm only expecting a single day supply because I was down here on Thursday night. So there's one in there, nothing in that one, two in there, there's three, and two more in there. So there we go, 5 eggs in one day. Bargain. Right, we'll go and see if the kettle's boiled, and while the coffee's cooling down I'll have a quick tidy up in here, get rid of this mess. Food and water's okay for now. I'll look at it before I go, but I probably won't need to top that up till tomorrow. Well, since we had a little bit of rain, I just quickly check the water storage. These two at the garden room, which is a fairly sizable roof. It's a good 10, 12 foot by the same. So I've got 2 barrels on here, interconnected, and I don't even need to check, look, you can see it overflowing. Now they were about 2/3 full last week, so now they're back full again. The chicken ones, they're both full. They're still not really using that. They pick at it now and again, but they're lazy and they're using the water that I put inside the coop. So the IBC totes, they were down at 750 litres last week, so around about here, and they're up now to 900 litres each. So that's good progress. Another day maybe of rain and they'll be overflowing. So that's good. I know I've got water. I was getting a bit concerned with all of that. What did we have? 4 or 5 weeks of sun and no rain. So I was getting a little bit worried, but I don't need to now. We've kind of put back almost what I've used. All these elderberry bushes are in full flower everywhere. Should be a really good harvest of elderberries later on in the year. Anyway, my coffee's waiting for me. There's my bags of chicken feed. I need to empty out one of the cupboards in the cabin to make space for those. But first things first, I want my coffee. Well, different morning this morning from the last few weeks. Jacket's back on again. Though having said that, the sun is just starting to peek out from behind those clouds. So you never know, it might dry out during the day. At least enough for me to have a run round with the little red tractor round that middle bit by the aggregate pile there, which I was showing you on the camera as I came in this morning. It is, I don't know, 8-9 inches, maybe more in places, because that's not been done for 2-3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So yeah, it does want doing. Anyway, the weekend is here. It's Saturday, so wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and well, and I hope you have a really good weekend this weekend. Do make sure you take time out for a bit of you time, and of course to keep on top of your preps. You might have seen the short video I popped out yesterday. I had a cheeky day off from work yesterday. Work has been difficult this last few weeks. If I had any hair, I would have been tearing it out. So yeah, I needed a bit of a me day and a chance to get rid of a bit of that pent-up frustration that we all get from time to time. I was also conscious that it's been about a year since I was last down at the range. All of 2020 it was completely shut because of COVID. So no practice with my self-defense tools, shall we say, at all. I think the last time I was down was probably, yeah, it must have been January, February last year, so it's over a year. The range was open about a month and a half, 2 months ago, but everyone was doing what I was doing yesterday, rushing back to get a bit of practice in, and I just didn't literally have the time to get down there. But I did yesterday, and it was really nice to be back down on the range and just having a bit of a practice. Really quite surprising. The sights on my 2.2 were actually all right. A little tiny bit of adjustment, but in reality, that adjustment was probably me that needed adjusting rather than the zero. It is, I noticed a lot yesterday. One of my sons was down with me, hi Lee, and we were both commenting about muscle use and the fact that the muscles that you use when you're down on the range are different to the ones that you use normal day-to-day activity. And you could tell there was lots of twitching going on as you're trying to hold the rifle in the firing position. So yeah, it was an interesting day and an apt reminder to keep up your practice, because it is really quick and easy to lose that muscle memory. Morning, Cockerel. So yeah, if you're in the fortunate position of being able to have some of those self-defense tools, then get yourself down the range and just make sure that you are keeping up your practice whenever you can, because it is easy to lose that skill. In terms of today, I could not believe it as I walked round this morning past the raised beds. And you know how you catch something in the corner of your eye, peripheral vision? I just saw this movement in the first raised bed and turned to look to see two baby rabbits startled and trying to rush out of that raised bed. And they've eaten all of those plants that were in there. It was cauliflower and broccoli, I think. They're gone, demolished completely. In reality, I can't blame anybody really except myself. Well, I can, but I won't. When I was putting the chicken wire fence round, you might remember I said that I'd run out of ground stakes to stake the bottom of the netting or the mesh to the ground, and then I'd ordered some. It has arrived. I brought it down. There's a packet sat on the workbench. So I brought them down on Thursday, ready for this weekend. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Had I taken the time on Thursday to do that, then I wouldn't have had that issue this morning. So yeah, I suppose there is a lesson to be learned there. Well, a couple. First, make sure you've got materials, sufficient materials, before you do the job. I've fallen foul of that so many times. And don't put stuff off. And again, I've fallen foul of that so many times. So, if you learn nothing else from these videos, learn from my mistakes. It's not the end of the world, in all reality. The growing season been bizarre this year. Meant that I couldn't repeat the success of last year. By this time last year, I had 2 raised beds full of cauliflower and broccoli. Indeed, I had 1 bed of each, already pretty much half grown. and this year I haven't, because the seedlings failed to germinate, and I ended up with a little ragtag assortment of about 12, 14 plants. Look on the positive side though, as always. In the garden room, I do now have some seedling trays with seedlings in them. I'll probably show you those in a short while. So I can replace them, and they're not the essential staples that I use for my meals. The two big essential staples for me really are potatoes and carrots, and you'll know I've already got loads of those coming through. Indeed, the potatoes are almost all of them now are flowering, and there's a bit of work to be done with the more recent potatoes. I need to bank those up. So again, I'll give you a walk around shortly and we'll take a look. It's been a real challenge this past week, well indeed this past 3 or 4 weeks, trying to keep on top of that watering, and I have had some casualties, but again we'll take a look at those as I go around. So yeah, things to do today, depends on the weather really. If the sun does come out, and I can hear a chicken laying an egg. Where was I? Yeah, if the sun does come out and dry out the field, I'll try and get the tractor out, and we'll see if we can get a bit of grass cut. But I need to do a little bit of tidying up in the polytunnel. The tomatoes are starting to come mature now. Indeed, some of those have started to put flower buds out. Lots to show you in the garden later. So I want to tidy those up, and I definitely want to be planting a little bit more of the buckets of carrots. I ordered some more of those big fabric containers that I've been using for the potatoes and those fruit trees. So I've got some more of those. Bit of banking up of the last 2 containers of potatoes I planted. Loads of stuff, and I'll show you that as we go through the day. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you are staying safe and well. Do have a nice weekend, and I'll catch up with you as we go through the day. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but this is the bottom cupboard in the cabin, and you can see I've got a variety of 20 kilo sacks stacked up now. All on the left hand side is all different kinds of feed for the chickens. So we've got layers pellets, we've got some crushed corn, and some bits of odd sort of different seeds that they like as a bit of a treat. And then the right hand side is actually wood shavings for the composting toilet. I've got another little store of straw and wood shavings in the chicken coop for the chickens, but this one there's actually a couple of bags in there. That's for the composting toilet. So not the most exciting thing in the world, but essential stuff. I've got to keep on top of supplies of feed for the chickens until such time as we're growing our own. And equally, I need to keep on top of supplies for the composting toilet. Mucky subject, but we all need one. Well, we'll start with a little whistle-stop tour of the planting in the garden room. And you can see lots and lots of brown crispy leaves on the floor. That's where I've been going around these fruit trees. You might remember last weekend, I think it was last weekend, all this hot weather had been really struggling to keep on top of the watering, and these trees have taken a bit of a battering. Lots of leaves have died off and are now scattered around this raised bed. But the good news is it's not been a complete disaster. You can see there's some here, look. Quite a few. We have got new leaf growth on the trees, so it's not been a disaster that it could have been. Somebody was talking about mulching, and they're absolutely right. It's something I didn't do on these containers, and I probably should have with hindsight. There is some straw that I use for bedding in the chicken coop, so I will. Close the gate after the horse has bolted. I will mulch around these pots, just in case we get a repeat of that really ridiculously hot few weeks we've had over the last 4 weeks or so. True potato seeds, I'm stunned at the amount of growth that these have put on, and I'm tempted to pop these outside because these two were getting completely dried out. Indeed that one is, even though I only watered it on Thursday. So I'm tempted to pop those outside and see what happens with those. I've got high hopes that I'll get some tubers out of these that I can plant on, but it is an experiment. I've not done this from seed before, so I am keen to see what happens. I mean, this pot over here, I don't know where all these sprouts are coming from because they are everywhere, and I only popped in 2 or 3 individual little seedlings into each of these buckets, and they have gone completely crazy. Strawberries, I've been picking these all week. I've had some really nice big juicy ones off here, and there are still lots of smaller ones kicking around. Seed trays, I mentioned these earlier. Lots of seedlings coming through now. These are all cauliflowers, and not every cell, but most of the cells have produced something, including that, which is definitely not a cauliflower. I suspect that that is a stray cucumber seed. Don't quite know how it's got in there, but it has, so that's going to have to come out at some point. Yeah, crazy. The peas and the cabbage that I planted ages ago now, nothing at all. Quite disappointing. But, as I say, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of other things going on. Let's take a little run outside to the chickens' veg garden, which is now absolutely packed out with lettuce. I've been meaning to harvest some of this, and I will now. Borage, flowering. I'm not sure what to do with all this borage that I've got. I'm tempted to plant it out around the field. I might even put some in that aggregate pile where I popped those tree seedlings the other week. I don't know, we'll have a think about it today. Now then, the raised beds. Potatoes and tubs are doing really well. We've got flowers coming now on these all over the place. These 2 pots have gone really crazy, massive amounts of growth, whereas the first one I popped in, I don't know quite what's wrong with this, whether it was the frost, because this did get hit by frost. We had a couple of late frosts, and this was the first one that went outside, so I don't know. Clearly it's not doing as well as those others, but I have got plenty of potatoes, so I'm not the slightest bit worried, because all of these along here are going crazy. Loads of flowers on these all the way down. The very first ones, the early ones I planted, are falling over, and have been falling over for a week or so now. It's been a massive challenge trying to keep on top of the watering of these. I mean, I put them outside deliberately to get some rain, and of course we didn't have any until this last 2 days. So I've been trying to water them. So again, it'll be interesting to see what's produced, but I have no doubt I'm going to get some pretty decent harvest off these. There's lots of growth on them. Strawberry beds and flowering borage, which is very nice to see. Again, I've been picking strawberries out of these through this last week, and there's still loads of them hidden away there, look. That one's not quite ready, but it won't be long, maybe tomorrow. Now then, the casualty. I've checked this netting and I cannot see how they've got inside this netting. It is a complete mystery, but clearly they have. And those are all gone. They're not going to survive that. So I'm going to have to pull these up, I think. I don't think they're going to recover. Garlic and onions, really pleased with these. I am tempted to have a dig around in the bottom of this last year's garlic to see what's going on underneath, because they cannot be far from being ready now. I'm thinking we'll have a little look maybe today. And then the ones I planted this year, they're all coming through strong, as are the onions that I planted this year. Swede, gone completely crazy, gone to seed, and I don't quite understand why. I'm guessing, again, it's weather related, but they're all going to seed in there, so at some point they're going to have to come out, and we'll see what we've got going on in the ground. I don't think they're going to be fully matured Swedes, because clearly they've gone to seed, but I don't know, we'll see. Sweet corn, massive growth on these now. I'm really looking forward to that. And again, we've got borage going completely crazy. I think perhaps I've overdone it with the borage in there. But it's given it some good ground cover to keep the moisture in, so that's good. But I don't know if you can see this. Look at that. You know what that is, don't you? That's a potato. There must have been a little tiny stray, and it must have been tiny for me not to see it, potato tuber in there. So there's actually a potato plant growing in amongst that lot. I've no clue as to how that will impact on the corn, because clearly the corn's growing out of the ground, whereas the potato's growing in the ground. But do I leave it in or do I take it out? You'll have to let me know in the comments. This other strawberry bed, the same. I've been picking strawberries out of this, and look at that, there's one there, and I think that's going to have to come out. I'm going to eat that now. That's so sweet. That's a weed, so that can come out. That one not quite ready yet. That might be one for me tomorrow. But they are everywhere. There's loads of them. Nothing in that bed except weeds. So that's it for round here. Let's take a little look in the polytunnel. Marigolds, lavender in the pots, doing well. We'll have some flowers off those shortly, I think. In fact, that lavender is flowering. Now then, what we got in here? Potatoes that need banking up. In fact, they're overdue, been banked up, so that needs doing today. Strawberries, look at them all, there's loads and loads and loads of them. Small, but ridiculously sweet. Very nice. Tomatoes, I was worried about these. You remember they got really crispy at one point. But the increased watering's paid off because they're flowering. I do need to start trimming these, and I'll do that today. Look at the cucumber from last week. How crazy is that going now? Really crazy. And this one also. Again, I need to try and train these around these bamboo. But yeah, fingers crossed, I'm going to get a fair crop of cucumbers from them. Everything else, lavender is flowering. Just popping out its first flowers, look. So that's going to be nice in here. Fig tree, loads of growth on that. And new growth from the bottom, which is really pleasing. Cranberry, blueberry, nothing much to report there. Clearly they're growing well, but no signs of anything developing fruit-wise. Unlike this one. this old blueberry bush, I reckon they're about ready, you know. What do you think? These look like they're ready. We'll have to have a little experiment later and see. That's going to want trimming and maybe staking up at some point, because these branches are starting to hang down. Last but not least, carrots. Last couple of buckets that went in, loads of nice growth on those. You can see these are quite dry as well, look. But they're all coming on quite strongly. I do need to plant some more seeds in those empty pots there. And these little trees I planted from cuttings last year, also doing really well. So very pleased with those. So that's it. That's the planting. Well, there is one more pot of strawberries kind of discarded over here, which I keep forgetting to look at. It's looking a bit waterlogged, that. But again, it's got strawberries on it, and that one's not far off being ready. Very nice. So that's it. The sun is peeking out, but there's lots of cloud in the sky. So I'm not sure if it's going to dry out the grass or not. It is trying over there. I don't know, we'll give it a couple of hours and see. I'll be busy anyway in the polytunnel and the garden room, having a bit of a tidy up. And I need to stake down this chicken wire. I have had a look around and I can't see where. I'm suspecting it's the back end where they've got in, because they did go out that way. But I've got the stakes, so we'll get that staked up. Apologies for the messy workbench, but needs must. It's my eggs from this morning. It's very nice. And I know there's some more already there because I could hear the chickens squawking earlier. We've got a nice little cabbage for them, for their weekend greenery. If I get some grass cut, they'll have some grass cuttings as well, but we'll see how we get on. So a few things came through the post. I've got a few of these solar LED lights. You might have seen I've got a few of them scattered around the outside of the cabin, but the cabin's grown considerably since they went up. So I've got some more new ones to put up. They'll be very useful around the chicken coop and the storage shed. So I'll get those popped up at some point today. That's the fabric containers I was talking about for the potatoes. You've seen these before. I've got a few more of those so I can continue my succession planting. These are the now infamous garden stakes for the chicken wire around the raised beds. So stable door, horse bolting, you know the story, but I'll get that finished off. And got a few sunflower seeds to pop out. I'm kind of thinking ahead for treats for the chickens, and of course flowers for the bees. So I'm going to experiment with those this year. I've not actually grown those before, so I'll get those popped in to some pots or seed trays at some point today as well. So plenty to do. Noise in the background is the kettle boiling. I have been pottering around outside for a while, just trying to think what I'm going to do. So I'll grab a coffee and then we'll get these stakes put out onto that chicken wire fence. The chicken's happy with their greenery. There's loads of it down here. They were eating it out of my hand earlier on, but they get a bit nervous from time to time. So we'll leave them to it. They can peck around at that. Hopefully that'll keep them happy and hopefully produce a few more eggs. I'm just coming to get some straw to top up the nest boxes while they're eating the greenery, and to put some down as mulch on those fruit tree containers. And look at this. I've got 2 eggs in there, and I've got 2 eggs in there, And I've got another egg in there. How quick was that? In the space of, I don't know, an hour, I've managed to get another 5 eggs. Anyway, let me sort this straw out and I'll collect those up. Well done, chickens, you deserve your greenery. So, look at that. 10 eggs. Bargain. Right, I really do need to get on and get this fence stake down. Time is, as usual, passing by. I've had a bit of a move around in the garden room. I've mulched these fruit trees. I've just temporarily moved out the tree potato seeds and replaced them with these strawberries out of the polytunnel. So I'm going to give these fruit trees a good watering, and hopefully that drying out that I've been suffering from won't be repeated, and hopefully I'll be able to keep on top of the watering on these trees. Big debate as to what to do with these trees, whether to keep them in here until next year or whether to pop them outside into the garden area and put them in the ground. Now I've got that wire fence up, hopefully that'll keep the critters off them. I have got some tree protectors that I can also pop around them. Big debate as to what to do. Would appreciate comments of people who have experience of growing trees. What do you think? Do you think I should risk putting them in the ground this year, or do you think I should keep them in here until next year and put them out sort of springtime, just as the tree's ready to start putting out its new leaves? Let me know what you think. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm just looking at these strawberries that I've just brought in. Look at this. We've got some more ready for picking, look. There we go. There's another one. They are so sweet. Right, let's get cracking with something else. Well, that's the chicken wire staked down, so hopefully that's the last time we're going to have the rabbits inside. I was praying this morning that I could get in there quick enough for them to panic and not be able to find the way out, but clearly that didn't happen. But it's all staked down now, so that's good. This sun didn't last long this morning. There's no sign of it at all, only black clouds everywhere I look. So that doesn't bode well, certainly doesn't bode well for grass cutting, but there's plenty to do in the polytunnel. Well, first things first, let's get the potatoes mounded up. I think I'm just as well tipping this in at one end and then spreading it around. Otherwise I'll be there all day. Yes, I think so. Just work this in. It's going to need a lot more than that though. It's amazing how well these have come on. Good job I'm not short of compost. I am looking forward to the day that I have my own compost rather than having to buy it from the shops. So now that the potatoes are banked up, I'm going to turn my attention to these tomatoes. They're actually looking quite nice, to say that they were at death's door only a week ago, but I have neglected them. I've not been taking out the side shoots, so I'm going to open up the bottom of the plants, take off leaves like these that are coming out at the bottom. I might even take some of these bigger ones out as well, just to get a bit of air flowing, because you can see they're all crowded at the bottom. There's not much air circulating above the pot. And I'll work my way up through the different trusses, pluck out some side shoots, trying to get the growth at the top where the flowers are coming for the actual tomato trusses to form. And I've just rigged up some string across the roof of the polytunnel. I saw somebody on one of the YouTube channels who actually runs a string from roof to floor to support the plants rather than using canes. So I'm going to give that a go. I suspect this might take some time, even though we've only got, what have we got, 2, 4, 6, 8 plants on the floor. Those other two can grow up those canes, I'm not worried about those. But yeah, everything takes longer than you expect, and the day as usual is flying by. This might look a bit savage, and it probably is, but it's got to be done. Well, that's the tomatoes done, so they've got a bit of breathing space now at the bottom of the pots. I've plucked out as many side shoots as I can see. Quite savage on some of them, to be honest. So I might turn up tomorrow and find that I've killed them all. I don't think I have, but you never know. They are all looking quite nice now. They've got flowers on pretty much all of them. I've popped these cucumbers up the stakes as well, just to give them a bit of support. I might just pop down the bottom end of them as well. I've got flowers coming, look, on the cucumber. How nice is that already? Well, I've had a bit of a clear out. I've moved those potatoes outside, and I'm just experimenting with this support string idea that I saw on a YouTube video. So the idea is essentially you have the string running up to the ceiling, and then as the tomato grows you just wrap it around the string. That's the theory. Whether it works or not, who knows. but I guess we'll find out. Well, there we go. I've got all of the tomato plants in and strung up. Like I say, I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to perform. I'm just going off other people's advice. But hopefully they'll be fine. I've given them a little bit of a watering. I'll give them a bit more before I leave. But everything seems to be okay. These cucumbers are putting on a massive amount of growth. Can't believe how quickly they're moving. Hopefully now I've thinned out the can't even say it, tomato bases, and they've got a bit of airflow. They should start shooting up. I've took off all the side shoots, so they should grow up, not out. Fingers crossed. Well, the day is just flying by, as it always does, I guess. So I thought I'd just get these carrots popped into these buckets. I've given them a watering already, so they should be fine in there. As usual, I'm just going to sprinkle them over, and I'll pick out the ones I thought that packet might end. So I've brought 2 packets in with me. I'm hoping for a really good harvest this year. They're a bit slow in getting started compared to last year, but as you can see, they are coming through. So fingers crossed, we should be okay. I'll just pop a bit of compost on top of that, give it another quick sprinkle of water, and that's another 4 buckets ready to go. Well, I'm going to give these sunflowers a bit of a go, see if I can't get these to grow in these little trays. Not grown these before, but it'd be nice to have them out on the field as a bit of a food source for the bees, and then eventually when they set the seed heads, a bit of food for the chickens. So we'll see. Well, I think it might be too wet, but I'm going to just pop up quickly and have a look. If it's not, I'll crack on and get a bit done, but if it is, I'll just come back and we'll forget about it for today. But it is forecast for a lot more rain tomorrow, so I'd rather take a chance now. Well, this is a real struggle, this piece. It's got too long and it's very wet still. Little Red Tractor's doing its best to get through it, but in all honesty, I'm pushing it a little bit too hard. I'm a little bit worried I might do some damage. You can see the length here. I mean, it's huge. You can see where I've gone through. I've had the back open, not even trying to collect because it's not throwing anything into the basket at all. It's just clogging up the cutting blades and the belts. And I suppose, given the length of it, it's not surprising. That is normally where I would stop, in all fairness, and that probably won't strim in. But this, I normally run over this with the mower, but you can see how long it is. I mean, some of that's almost 2 foot high. The clover's a good 8-9 inches. Anyway, I'll battle on and try and just clear this last section. And then I think I'll call it a day before I do some damage to the Little Red Tractor. Well, that's been a real pig to do, and if I'm honest, I've pushed Little Red Tractor a bit too hard. It's just been clogging up. But having said that, bless it, it's soldiered on, and we've actually managed to cut a swathe through this patch that was really overgrown here. All of this was a good 9, 10 and in some places a foot high, but we're through. So this centre section where the old aggregate pile used to be, that's a strimming job. You can see there's just so many blackberries, I can't go anywhere near that really. I've got as close as I dare, just here, too close actually, because I ran over a big bramble and I thought I'd knackered the tractor, but I haven't. I've worked it to death, but it's alive. So, good job done. I mean, that centre section, I only did that last weekend, and look at it already. Crazy. I'm really pleased I got this bit done though, because it was nagging at me. It was nagging at me last weekend, let alone this weekend. So, good job done. I'll go and pop Little Red Tractor away, and it's that time already. I don't know where the day goes to, I really don't. Well, that's it for another day. Can't believe how quick the time passes by. It's been a really close, muggy day today. It really does want to have a thunderstorm and just clear the air. Because even though the sun hasn't been out strongly, it has been quite warm and sticky, if that makes sense. Anyway, everything's locked up. Everything's looking okay. That bit of grass, I really am pleased I got that done. I know I might seem a bit OCD with the grass, but the struggle that I had with that bit there just kind of emphasises the point as to why I try to keep on top of it, because if I don't, it just becomes unmanageable really quickly, and it's taken a long time to get it to where it is now. It is forecast for rain tomorrow, so I doubt I would have been able to get this done tomorrow. So it was worth just pushing on and giving that poor Little Red Tractor a bit of a bigger workout than I should. Ah dear, but it's done. This side, to be fair, it doesn't tend to get as long because it's in direct sun pretty much all day, when we have sun of course, and it doesn't grow as quick. But this centrepiece and the piece down by the woodland does. It grows really quick. So, good job done. Got to get myself off home, have a shower because I'm all sweaty and sticky. And we'll see if we can't get this video uploaded in a day. Fingers crossed. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. I'm not even going to talk about the rabbits. What about the polytunnel? What do you think? I did a bit too much pruning on those tomatoes? Or was it okay? And what about that string system for trying to keep the plants upright? What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. But for now, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.